I just won Open Class Bronze in the Liberty Cup Summer Cup 2025 races held at SideBite.
This is your top stop, main event. Line up, turn them on, and grid them up on your marks. Get set, go. Charge out front. 1, 2, close to ball is Gio, Michaela, and Daryl. 2, Daryl and on yellow, Michaela in the pink. 3, Daryl down, yellow, your leader. 2, close to ball behind it, everybody's on the hot. Daryl down, yellow, still good. Comes around, pulls back down. 4, down, left, your leader. It is Mike, Gio, and Daryl. Rolling, come around, last race. Come around, here it is. First, second, third, Gio got that second spot. Well done. Mark in lane number 1. JB in lane number 2. Mason in lane number 3. Max in 4. Evan locking out our grid in lane number 5. This is your tune class main event. Line up, turn them on, and grid them up. On your mark. Get set. Go. Good job. George, One.
Oh, we got a nice
JB out front. JB in that silver and blue. 2. Mason and Mark roll on the hunt. JB still so much away. 3. Mark on the move. Here comes Evan. Oh, 4, right left. First, second, and third. Second lane you got started. Mark in 1. Evan, what lane you started? 2. So 1, 2, and 3. This is for the podium, guys.
Go, shoot class finals.
On your mark. Get set, go. Here it is. Rolling, through the back and back. 2 close ball. Mason out front. It is Mason for 1.
Ow! Backward!
2.
Mason out in the lead.
Mason out there. Mark right there with him. Oh,
Mason got hung up.
3. Mark coming around for loose road. Mark for 4. Mason
pulling
with an
away.
opportunity.
Mark's pulling away.
Here it is. First. Second. Well done. Hold on. JB, you're in 2. Max, you're in 4. Evan, you're in 5. Last car standing. On your mark. Get set, go. Here we go.
Oh, that is this wall again.
1. JB out front.
Oh, you get hung up?
2.
JB pulling away.
Max looking for that opportunity.
Oh,
There it is. That's our third place. Good job, JB. This is our open class main event. Death Star Riders on the grid. We got Daniel lane number 1, Clare in 2, Romeo in 3, Ben in 4, CJ in 5. That's it. Line up, turn on middle. Get set, go. Good job.
what happened, Mr. Start?
Roll charge out front.
Come on, Clare, let's go, let's go.
1. Romeo out front, they're right there with him.
Uh-oh, 1 car, that's it.
2, Romeo now leading around. Romeo last car standing. 3, see if Romeo can hold on to it. Romeo that old silver ride. 4, final lap. There it is, big round of applause for Romeo.
Romeo, open class winner.
Everybody back in for the rest of the podium, second and third. Line them up, same line.
Here we go, second and third.
Let's do it, guys. Line them up. Get set, go. Good drop. This is for second and third. Get out front. Everybody else on the hunt. Look. Down in that white. There it is. CJ now. Running in second. 2.
Come on, Claire.
Claire.
Come on, Claire. Come on, Claire. Reel him in.
CJ running that all green. Claire in the black and green. 4. Final lap. Let's go.
Second, Claire, third.
Well done, well done. What a race. Romeo in first, CJ in second, Claire in third. I'm going to put Mikhail at lane number 1, Marcelo at lane number 2, JD in lane number 3, Randy in lane number 4, and Brian in lane number 5. This is your master of all masters, June class, main event. Line up, turn them on, and grid them up. On your marks. Get set, go. Good drop. Brian out front, Randy right there with him. Here's now Randy and JB, 1. Randy and Brian in that crown, JB in that copper thing. 2. Here comes Mikhail on the hunt. It is JB and Randy, too close to call, coming through now. It is Randy for 3. Here comes Mikhail on the blue now, looking on the inside. It is Randy coming out for 4. Mikhail now in that second spot. It is Randy, Mikhail, there it is first, second, third. Wow, what a race. What a race. Your master of all masters, Randy. There it is, good job, man, good job. Randy, the Liberty Cup 2025 Master of all masters, 2 class. Winner. Thank you. This is your master of all masters, open class, lane 1, CJ. Evan, lane 2. Claire, lane 3. Line up, turn them on, and grid them up on your marks. Master of all masters, open class, get set, go. Too close to call out front. 1. It is Claire, CJ, Evan. CJ on the move. 2. Claire in the dark green, CJ in the light green. Evan on the hunt. 3. CJ moving out. Looking on the inside, it is your CJ, not your leader.
Uh-oh.
Lap for 4. Last lap. CJ coming out. Play right there with him. It is there. Master of all masters, CJ. CJ taking it. Master of all masters, open class. The kid has been working hard and he's paying off. Well done, CJ.
Good job, CJ.
Awesome job, CJ. Awesome job. Well done, man.
It's a video. Go ahead.
Holy cow, nobody deserves it more than this kid. He's been putting in the time for a long time. Our first junior racer here at SideBite getting it done. Well done, CJ.
Good job, CJ.
I need a picture with that master of master. Oh man.
Wow, what a race.
Against stellar competition, I prevailed and won the bronze place in open class. Yes, with my Green Lantern car. Now this is the Precision Mini4WD drive car here with some slight modifications here and there. But yeah, I was able to get it super stable and prevail and win bronze in the open class races. Yes, pretty darn cool. And then the winners of Tune Class and Open Class in the Summer Cup moved on to the qualifiers for the Master of All Masters races. Yes, and we had some awesome trophies for the Master of All Masters race. It's a winner-take-all race. Who would prevail to win Master of All Masters in Tune Class and Open Class? Pretty darn cool. So we had 145 cars at SideBite in this Summer Cup special. Yes, this is the largest event we've had yet for the Liberty Cup. Yes, so cool. And now that the Master of All Masters races are over, it starts a new cycle so that we can have Master of All Masters in 2026. Yes! So remember everybody, to qualify for the Master of All Masters, you have to place on the podium in Tune Class or Open Class in any Liberty Cup race. Yes! So you've seen the pictures of Box Stock, Tune Class, and Open Class. Yes, very cool. So many awesome racers at the event. Yes, very cool. Young and old, male and female. Yes, everybody was there. Very cool. From all different groups too, all different teams. Yes, and we had winners from every single team that participated. So cool. And so yeah, the Master of All Masters race, I was in that, in the finals, along with Evan and CJ, and yeah, CJ prevailed. Like, I was like ahead for a couple of laps, maybe 3, maybe 2.5, and then suddenly CJ just shot off like a rocket and just ended up winning the race. Whoa, that's so cool. He beat the Open Class Master, yes, at her own game. So yeah, that's really cool. But if you look at his car, there are some, like, lots of similarities. And you know what? Everybody's car starts looking the same after a while. You've got that front pivot, you've got the rear mushroom pivot. Yeah, so long as you build your car correctly and with precision, you are going to do very well in the races. Yes, pretty darn cool. So, there are so many strategies involved in these races. And one of the best strategies that I can recommend for all of you that really helped me this time around, because I actually, like, in terms of quarterfinals, things like that, I ended up faring a lot better in this event than in my previous couple of events, because what I did was I pared down my box, right? So instead of having a 3-tier box, I've got a 2-tier box now. So I've got 2 2-tier boxes instead of 2 3-tier boxes. So that gives me 6 less cars to work with. So with less cars, you have a stronger focus on the cars that you have available to you. So I actually, in the past, thought to myself, well, if I have more cars, I have more access to all the different kinds of possibilities that can deal with the very many different kinds of courses out there. But the big problem with that is you end up running out of time trying to play test all of these different vehicles that you bring along, and you also kind of lose sight of the fact that you need to have some tuning skills to be able to take your cars and just modify them slightly so that they will perform well on the track at hand. So if you have too many cars, you're spreading your chances across all the different cars, and so it's better to have fewer cars to focus on and just focus on those cars at hand and try to make them the best that they can be. And you know what? If you somehow missed, like, the car of your dreams for that particular track, so what? At least you will have had, like, a good try at that particular track. So having less cars really helped me this time around. I should have pared it down to just one of these instead of 2, because in general I barely touch the cars in the second box. I play tested some of these. These are some of the more interesting builds that I had here, like this Red Hot, which is this Super FM car, and I had my bread and butter, the mock frame, but it's like one of the rollers is kind of like a jar now, so it's not as stable as it once was. And yeah, I've got the VZ chassis here, but as you will all know, VZ chassis can get caught on its rear, on the rear end, on the rollers there. So there's no brakes on a VZ, that's why it's so fast, and unfortunately, because of that, on hard turns, it can get caught on the edge of the track and course out, so that's unfortunate. And then I had other cars here, MS suspension cars, my Wolfie car, as well as my Blue Lightning MS suspension car. So they performed okay. They were not as good as these other choices that I have here in the primary box. So this is my primary box, this is my secondary box, and my primary box, I raced this in box stock. This is my Korean mock frame version 2, and there's something a little unstable about it, but you know, this is like the best of the 3 cars that I brought along, and yeah, it did okay. It got into the semifinals once. And then for Tune Class, here we have 2 entries, Eagle and Hellboy. and this one got into a semifinals once, and this one got into 2 semifinals, and that was pretty cool. This is a super fast car, but unfortunately in the weirdest moments it would just course out. Like, this was leading, I should have won. Even Latif almost like called it that I should have won this particular semifinal, but then it courses out like right at that last turn on the last lap, and it was like it boggled everybody's mind, right? So it was just really weird that happened, and I think it had something to do with one of the screws being slightly bent and also slightly loose, and so I checked everything before I raced these cars, and so things just happen with all the track vibrations that occur on SideBite's wooden track. Yeah, anything can happen. Yeah. But especially cool about Eagle, I went back to the smaller 24mm super hard tires that Eagle was initially known for, and I switched this roller here to one of those MS rollers. It's the little white roller right there. Yeah, pretty darn cool. Yeah, and it did surprisingly well, all things considered. So I am not dismayed by the performance of this car. This thing did fairly well for basically coming back into the game, so to speak. So yeah, pretty darn cool, pretty darn cool. And let's see, so for my 2 open class entries, I had the Grim Reaper. This was mega fast. Unfortunately, this also had a tendency to course out that very last lap kind of situation, and it didn't seem to matter which lap it was, right? So on one race, it coursed out on the final lap, which was like lap 3, and another one it coursed out on lap 5, and it's just like really weird that these things would happen. But remember, what happens in a race is dependent on all the other cars that are racing with you. So that's the random variable that is hard to guess, right? So if you practice racing alone and you see that your car is super stable, you might have like a false sense of security. But then when you race against people in practice and your car still does very well, you might still have a sense of false security because you've just raced against those people. You didn't race against the specific group of people that you are going to race with in the actual race, right? So you might race against the 4 other, say, best racers in the house, right, in the room during your practice, but those aren't necessarily going to be the same racers that are going to be racing against you. You might race against all different kinds of people, and the craziest cars will race against you, and those crazy cars will cause certain kinds of track vibrations that will cause your car to course out. And even if you have the most stable build, you will still course out depending on what the factors are. So I've seen plenty of course outs because people were going way too fast. They were sprucing up their engines so much and upping up the battery juice so much that they just wanted to win, right? So this open class is a game of speed and stability all in one, but really it's more about speed for a lot of people. So they want to not just win, but they want to win, right? They want to just go win, and they just want to prove that their car is not going to win by a car length or nose. They want to show that their cars can win by like several car lengths ahead. And this is the kind of car that's capable of doing that. It has a sprint dash motor in it. It's got a VZ chassis. So this is a VZ chassis going against MS suspension cars. Now, how do I compensate for this, right? For the fact that I'm racing against MS suspension cars. So I've got this pivot on the front, right? Grim Reaper has this awesome pivot that is similar to the pivoting system on Green Lantern. So check out how high I can bring this, right? Pretty high, right? So take a look, see? Also pretty high, right? Pretty cool. And then the rear has a mushroom pivot system, right? And this mushroom pivot system, it's not totally perfect. I was looking more closely at this and I greased it up very well so that it would perform admirably, but it's not totally perfect, and I think I need to sand something down just a little bit more to make this a little more smooth on the right side, because there is this little scrape thing going on, whereas here there's less of a scrape. And basically with a VZ chassis, you have to cut the VZ chassis in such a way such that you could place this rear pivoting system on it and have it behave like a true pivoting system on an MS suspension chassis. So I've also got this tail damper here, which works very admirably. And it's a long tail because if you were to just attach it to these two rear points here, like most people do, it's just going to be like a little bit of a flapper. But this one's like a long kind of thing, so it's got some length to it. And so it's going to really like dampen, have a great dampening effect when you drop test it. So yeah, you can see for yourself right here that it's pretty darn cool. Yeah. So how about the tires? The tires are, it's a Mad Tang thing, right? So it's got super hards in the rear with little sponge on the ends. And then we've got low friction on the front with little sponge ends, so that when it does bounce a little bit on its corner, like this, we've got that dampening effect with the sponge. However slight it is, it still has a little bit of dampening effect, so that when it does land, that little soft sponge will help absorb some of the impact. Not a lot, but enough. And yeah, it's pretty darn cool. So there are other things that you can do to create more of a suspension effect. And we'll revisit this as time goes on, and we'll see what we can do to make it even more of a dampening effect. So yeah, pretty darn cool. But yeah, I like the fact that, yeah, this lands pretty flat, and it's pretty cool, I like it. And we've got these rollers on the bottom and the top. I placed heavier rollers on the bottom. These are 13mm bearing rollers here. And on the top, we've got very fast spinning black ringless 13mm rollers. Very, very cool. And we've got two sets of 13mm black ringless rollers on the front that spin very, very freely. So cool. And I must say that, yes, this is great, this Precision Tuner's car. It's a little loose in the front though, so I just made my mods, and this doesn't rock as much. So this is much more stable in the front. So this is pretty cool. And you know what, like this also here, my mushroom pivot is also straight up and down. So this is very, very precise. And so these little things that I've done to this are just this is what I see in other people's builds, and I think to myself, well, wait, why isn't it this way? Why is this? And it's usually because, somebody might be crafting something a little quick, and so something might be slightly ajar, and for all intents and purposes, it works. But for me, I'm this kind of weird perfectionist. I look at something, if it looks slightly off, even by a degree, then I get all annoyed, and then I have to go and fix it, right? So there must be a reason why things are slightly ajar sometimes that I'm not privy to, but I think that in my own mind, I just want it to be perfect. And so, yeah, that's why I set out to make a stiffer front end, and I showed you in my video about what happens when the screw is pointed slightly this way versus that way, the different effects that you can achieve with that. And yeah, this bolt right here is straight up and down. I really like that. So my mushroom pivot's really nice. I have seen a really awesome mushroom pivot made by Den, and it was just amazing. It went up, down, left, and right, and also swiveled and snapped back in place. And I was like, whoa, how did he do that? That's pretty darn cool. So wherever he learned that, it's pretty cool. I'm thinking to myself, I should do that. That wasn't that hard. See, with me, because I don't have tons of experience with MS suspension chassis, I thought this is how it's supposed to be. But if you really think about it, right, this thing could be rocking back and forth along the track, causing vibrations on its own, and slowing down the darn car while it's moving forward. If you have something that's stiff, that's going to be better than something that rocks back and forth like this. So a lot of people who don't have rear pivoting systems end up having really fast cars on certain tracks because their car is super stable, solid, right? So if you don't have a pivoting system on your rear or on the front, sometimes on certain tracks you can prevail on those particular tracks. So yeah, and case in point, you all know the saga of Scooby-Doo, right? So Scooby-Doo had front and rears that didn't have any pivoting systems at all, but it was mega fast. It had this lantern damper that was in a reverse kind of way, and it was so fast. And on a particular track at Hobbytown, it was like, it was the car to beat, basically. Even though it was like from behind, it then just like eventually advanced its way to the front. And so, yeah, that's just the way the ball bounces for sometimes. And sometimes the ball bounces your way. Sometimes it does not, right? So, yeah, that's just how it is. So, Master of all masters at my event was Randy, and Randy has won so many tune class races at SideBite and other places, and so he is truly the master of all masters. And CJ is like a newcomer to open class, but he built his car everything right, and so his car was fast, it was smooth, it was very stable, and that's how he prevailed. And the fact that he colored his car green, can't go wrong with that, right? Green is cool, yeah. There's so many good green parts in Tamiya Mini 4-wheel drive, so yeah, why not make a green car? Very, very cool. Those of you who know my cars in the past know that I made a tune class car called the Green Goblin. It didn't look like it was that fast, but it was so fast. And it had little 24mm low friction tires on it, and it was like, it won one of my Liberty Cup races one month. It was pretty cool. We also have this car here, which was, you know, like, this is a car that I will always love, because it was like one of the first tune class cars that I made that was like an animal racer and was really fast, and it's won me lots of races. And after the Liberty Cup event, Anthony, one of the racers there, and I went up to the upstairs part of SideBite where they have this awesome track with so many dragon backs and inclines and things like that, and lane changers, and we raced together, and I beat him on one race, and then he beat me on another race, so we were tied. That was pretty darn cool. So yeah, they have an awesome, very fun looking track upstairs at SideBite. So don't miss that if you go to SideBite. It's in Trenton, New Jersey, Hamilton Township, and yeah, you'll have a lot of fun there. There's a huge wooden track like you see at my Liberty Cup event, and every so often they change the track layout for even more challenge, right? So yeah, I'm not sure exactly how often they change the track. It might be weekly, it might be every other week, something like that. But yeah, they change the track often, and you can race at racing events there every Thursday and Sunday. Yes, very, very cool. And I think sometimes they have races on other nights too. Very, very cool. And if there's a large group of people, then Latif will like specially set up a race for the people that are there. So that's another cool thing too. And they have lots of merchandise. They have so many things that are so difficult to get in the US that you just have to go there and you have to like buy everything, right? So right on the wall behind the counter is like a plethora of all different parts that are like, some are easy to get, others are really difficult to get. And so you'll have like something of everything, because he special orders things from all different places and receives these special things from all different places. So one of the things that was in stock recently was this large diameter low friction arch tire. So this is the black version of the low friction arch tires that came with the Geo Glider Black Special. Do you remember those wheels there? They were burgundy in color, and so these are the black version of the wheels. Now, I'm sure, well, the tires that is, I'm sure that there is some slight difference between the two compounds. There's got to be, right? There's always some slight difference when you're moving from one color to another. It's just that way. So you'll just have to figure out what that is for yourself by purchasing one of these packages here. It's about $4 or so. So yeah, you should be able to find it at SideBite. I think I bought the last couple of them that were in stock at this particular point, but they always get new stock in of various things. So if you don't get this, you can get all these other things that are there, especially motors. And Latif has like motors that are already broken in that he can sell you as well. So very, very cool. If you don't want to break in a motor yourself using one of my water tuning methods or my oiling method, things like that, you can always have Latif, a professional motor break-in person, break your motors in for you. Yes, for a low price. Very, very cool. Latif also has specialized tires for open class. So he's been making tires and they look beautiful. And so you basically just tell him what you want and he will try to craft the tire according to your specifications. Pretty darn cool. And lastly, Den is selling his open class cars at SideBite. So that's pretty cool. So you'll see one of his cars on display there. Now Deng is like winning races left and right. So it's important to note that here are the builds that you can purchase that will also give you a winning edge. Very, very cool. So yeah, at least at SideBite, right? Because at SideBite, since they've got a wooden track, it has different characteristics than the plastic tracks that most racers are used to racing on. So Deng has this open class car, and yeah, I think it's like probably tuned for the SideBite wooden tracks, but I'm pretty sure that you can use it for plastic tracks as well, so long as you modify it slightly, know how to use brakes, know how to use weights, things like that. So yeah, I was actually racing with all rechargeables this time because there is very little chance or almost no way that I could compete properly with alkaline batteries in the SideBite racing events because everyone else is racing with rechargeables. So I ended up adding weights to this battery block right here, and that basically weighed the car down enough so that it would stay stable on the track. Now, first couple of heats, I actually used Duracell Optimums, and they did fairly well in this car, but it was just like a little too heavy, and so people were beating me even though I was really fast. But then once I upgraded to rechargeables, this was like blindingly fast compared to all the other cars. It's just that it coursed out at the inopportune times. So I think just weighing it down a smidge more would enable me to kind of hone in on that sweet spot where it will stay on the track and also complete all 5 laps. So yeah, very, very cool. So yeah, I didn't have a lot of time to play test my cars. So I was teaching yoga in the morning. I was teaching for a Yelp event, and there were 17 yogis there at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we had this great class at the rail park in Philadelphia. And then I zipped up to Trenton for the racing event that started at noon, my racing event, and yeah, it was like nonstop go, go, go all morning. And so yeah, when I got there, I didn't have that much time to play test things, but I tested enough stuff, and I was confident that the choices that I made were pretty good, maybe good enough to do fairly well and be competitive, maybe not necessarily to win, but you don't want to win too many of your own events. That just looks kind of cheesy. So I'd rather have other people win my events, and then I'll try to win other events out there. So yeah, that's how everyone should kind of look at their own racing events. Don't win all of your own events. That just looks bad. That just looks terrible. But yeah, I digress. So I'd like to give a big thank you to Latif and his family, Karen, Sydney, and Drew, for orchestrating this entire event at SideBite, the Liberty Cup, Summer Cup, and all the other events, the qualifiers that were held prior at SideBite. Yes, the team that Latif has, his family, they all work together so well to ensure that the experience is a great one for all the racers that participated. Very, very cool. So everybody, if you like this video, please slam the like button, subscribe to my channel. You'll see more videos just like this one. Until next time, everybody, see you. Bye.